welcome to Iron Dinos. I'm Shaun, and this is it. This is the big finale of this gigantic Metroid project that I took on last year. It has been the source of a tremendous amount of joy. It's been the source of a tremendous amount of anger and stress. But yeah, I have looked back at all of the Metroid games I've played and told you my thoughts. Well, by and large, just gushed about how wonderful they all are. And I guess it's time at this point to talk about this game, Metroid Zero Mission, which yeah, I took to play in the background of this series because, well, we needed some visuals, and I wasn't going to do it with Metroid Dread because I wanted to just sit and relax and play Metroid Dread. So, has this been as good as the rest of the series? Yeah. I mean, it's Fusion. It's a remake of the first one with all of rebuilt over Fusion by and large, and Fusion is freaking fantastic. So yeah, it controls wonderfully, it sounds great, it looks great. There's been little extras added here and there to flesh things out, and things like the map do make it an easier play than the original. Let's just put it that way. Would I suggest playing this over the original? Now that is a question I've kind of wrestled with. Is this more fun? Yeah it is. But I have, being a massive nerd, I have a bit of like a, well, I've got a couple of thoughts. So this, I would consider this separate to the original Metroid. It's a retelling, and I know a lot of people would say, well, just play this over the original. But if you're not playing the original, you're not playing this. Isn't the same as playing the original. Playing this is playing a Metroid Fusion game, you know, Metroid Fusion or Super Metroid style game that is aping the original. Whereas, like I say, this is overall probably a more fun time. This is certainly the easier experience than the original. But the original has something this doesn't, and that is that it is the original. There's a lot of stuff added to this that wasn't there. Starting with the map, I told my friend, I told a couple of my friends, when I actually played NES Metroid, I had a pad and I was trying to make a giant map and draw out everywhere I'd been and connect them so I could figure out where I needed to go and what I needed to do. And I really liked that about the original. Obviously that's not here in this game, and you know, I will tell you that's for the better. If you're playing for this for the first time and you're not some weirdo who wants to be purist about it, then yeah, absolutely do play this first, because but I still think the original has value, because again, so much of I think it's kind of in everyone's love for Super Metroid, which is fair. It's an unbelievable game, but I think it's in the conversation of it. I think it feels somewhat lost how much Super Metroid perfected something that was already really good. And I don't think this expands on the original in the way that I don't think this expands on Super Metroid, I should say, in the way that Super Metroid expanded from the original. This is this isn't such a gigantic leap forward, as great as it is, to the point that I think the original has no value. I think it is worth drawing your own map and playing it. I think it's worth, especially if it's early in your Metroid playthroughs, going through and figuring out what everything does and how it does it. And yeah, that is really frustrating from a modern playing perspective. But I used to play games like that back in the day, because I'm old. So I was kind of used to it, and I kind of enjoyed it as like a retro thing. But by all intents and purposes, if what you want to do is play the original Metroid, just for, say, the story and the lore and stuff like that, then yeah, this is 100% the way to go. This is tremendously fun. This adds, excluding the section we're currently in, which we'll go to in a bit. This does add all the improvements from Metroid, from Super Metroid into Metroid, and yeah, it does make it a far easier and more accessible game. And Jesus Christ, the map! I don't know quite what they were thinking in the original without the map, because I know there's some stuff that they've simplified as well. Yeah, I remember very clearly in the first one getting stuck, and what I needed to do was like jump and bomb, or jump and fire up or something, and there was like a tiny gap with a split second to get through and shit like that. Like, this has been carefully redesigned to make it clearer, even with the map, and you've got the you've got the Chozo thing telling you whereabouts you next need to be. It all makes it a much more fun game to play. Let's be completely honest. Like, as tremendously fun as I think the original is, this is much more pick up and play, relaxing. You've got a couple hours, you can just actually make some goddamn progress, rather than not quite realise you've been running in a circle the whole time, and then scream and damn, what are they? Was it R&D2 to hell and back? No, this is great. This looks great. It plays great. It's absolutely fantastic. And if you're going to play the original Metroid and you don't want to deal with a NES game, this is definitely a way to go. Plus, this does have extra stuff, and on the extra stuff, I do like it. I really do. But I question why it's at the end. I question why Samus, out of her suit and vulnerable and everything, isn't the first thing they wanted to do. I guess they wanted it to be a really pleasant surprise to people who are very familiar with the original, and suddenly you've got this whole new bit to play through that was never there before. A nice surprise on completing the game, but it feels. I thought it felt a bit reductive, because you go around and, like, the idea is that you're building all of this stuff and you're making yourself bigger and stronger and everything like that, and that is probably the time to take all those powers away, because you've got used to them and everything, but obviously you've played through all of the games, so you've gained the skills, knowingly or not, to be able to then play in that much weaker form. But, you know, it's still kind of like, oh, this is a cool idea, but I don't know if this is the way I would have gone about it. But still, I like the lore it gives. I like that you get to go through more like a Chozo temple and stuff like that. I like that you've got the test for Samus, so she's got to earn the suit back. And again, it seems a bit pointless. You've had the suit through the whole game. Why is it suddenly taken away? But it's still very, very cool. It's still all very, very cool stuff. And well, I can talk about the final boss, because we've already seen it. It kicked my ass. and then I decided to go look for stuff to see if we could power up again, and to give me more time to talk about Metroid. But yeah, the last boss, the kind of mechanical Ridley thing, I don't know what that's meant to be. Are they implying that the reason Samus has fought Ridley a bunch of times is that he can get a new body? Or I don't quite get it. But it's still pretty cool. Like, I think that boss fight it's by and large the Mother Brain one again. You can't really move forward or backwards too much. You're just kind of pinned in one spot, and there's loads of crap flying at you that you have to avoid or tank it through, depending how many power-ups you've managed to obtain. But yeah, it's kind of cool for what it is, even if it doesn't necessarily make an awful lot of sense, or there's nothing in the game to explain why it makes sense. But yeah, on the scale of don't panic. I sound a bit. It's a bit hard to put without just understanding where I'm coming from, which is just I'm kind of an OCD nerd. So if I'm playing the original something, I want to be just playing that original something, but explain it in a way that there is more to it than that. But that is the basis of it. The basis of it is the way OCD is like, oh, this is fantastic. Why didn't they make Metroid 6 while they were at it, instead of us having to wait a decade? No, almost 2 fucking decades for the damn thing. But yeah, but then it may not have been as quality as an experience as Fusion. Fusion is a hell of a thing to top. I spoke about it at length, but Christ, I really like Fusion. Then I really like all of them. So, but yeah, so Metroid Zero Mission is certainly up there with one of my favourites. But I mean, like, I try to explain this. So, on the scale of the Metroid games, from least favourite to favourite, I mean, probably the least favourite is Hunters, because I tried to play it on an old Square DS and it hurt my hand. Then there's Metroid 2 Return of Samus, the original version for the Game Boy, and I only don't like a large part of my issue with that is basically that they couldn't make a lot of the Metroid evolutions look particularly good on the Game Boy. They all look really weird and they don't look scary. I think they look kind of derpy / weirdly cute. But by and large, that's that. And I think I appreciate what Corruption, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption was trying to do, but I don't think they quite pulled it off. I don't think they pulled it off enough for it to be like literally one of my favourites. But like, so all of those are like basically a 9 to a 9.5 out of 10, and everything else is a 10 out of 10. Because Jesus Christ, this series is, it's like it's just bizarrely consistent. Like, and Nintendo, to be fair to them, you know, if you look at the mainline Zelda games, it's also tremendously consistent. Mario as well, and I don't think there's anything in this series that's as quote unquote bad as the worst of those series. Like, I guess with Legends of Zelda, the worst. I'm wondering if I figure out that I need to go into a ball and zip across there, because you can do that in this. Yeah, like a lot of people don't like a lot of people really don't like Mario Sunshine. A lot of people really don't like Zelda 2. And I don't think there's anything in the Metroid series that has... Oh, Other M, I guess. Yeah, fair point. Other M. I'm talking bollocks. I was going to say there's nothing that has a really bad fan reputation in the Metroid series. But yeah, there is Other M. Which is kind of interesting because... I don't know why. I don't quite understand it. There's a section of the Metroid fan base who are incredibly militant that Prime isn't canon. That Prime is a side series and should be considered a completely separate thing to the main Metroid canon. And, you know, I don't see any reason to believe that. And I don't see anything in the games to make me believe that they're not canon necessarily. But I don't see why as a fan you'd want to discount an entire side series. Especially as most of those people are perfectly happy to to acknowledge Other M, which by all accounts is a very, very good game, but the writing, it's the writing that is the problem. The writing is detrimental to the character of Samus, is what I've heard. I'll probably play that and really enjoy it, but to be fair, I am I will, when something like that is written and acted, I will judge it more harshly than anything else, than I have anything else thus far. So if the rest of the fans don't like it, and what I hear, well, I don't like the idea of Samus being in the Federation as an absolute fucking starting point, let alone having male commanding officers who have to rescue her and she's kind of somewhat submissive to, and that's what I've heard. So I don't think I'm going to like that very much at all, but I may very much enjoy the gameplay, but we'll see. We'll see when and if I eventually get around to the damn thing. Because I've got to be honest, over the last few years, as I've mentioned many times, over the last several years is when I've played all of the Metroid games, all of these Metroid games. So probably in the last 4 or 5 years, something like that. And I'm absolutely not sick of them whatsoever. Like, I wish there were another 5 I could play. I really do. My spare time while I'm while I'm playing my main game, which I'm not enjoying very much, I am playing when I want a respite from when I'm so sick of this goddamn game. I'm picking up my 3DS and playing a bit more of Samus Returns, because it's just an absolute joy. And I don't like... I'm the same with books and all stuff like that. I don't like playing more than one main game at a time. So it's not exactly cheating if I'm not playing another console game outside of the big console game that I'm enduring. So it's not cheating if I've then got a little 3DS game on the side. Darn it, stupid claw. But yeah, anything that can give me more Metroid, and it's it's now a genre I've exploded into. I didn't realise... I'd heard the term Metroidvania here and there, but I thought it largely just pertained to things like Symphony of the Night and Metroid games, because you know, they're all like that. But I'd played Hollow Knight, completely ignorant that the Metroid, that it was a Metroidvania, and this genre was so wonderful and all-encompassing, and so much of it comes from this series. So it's branched out. I'd love for more of this stuff. I'd absolutely love for more Metroid, but we'll see. I actually bug my friends every time. We've got a little WhatsApp group, of course, where we talk video games an awful lot, because we're all avid gamers. And it's like my buddy is I like Nintendo, but I don't have the affinity for it, which is funny because I did grow up a Nintendo kid, but I don't have the affinity for it that my buddies do. They're like Nintendo. I'm like, it's one of the 3 consoles I own. I like what they do. Their first party stuff is high quality, and obviously they do stuff like Metroid, which makes me very, very happy. But it's like every time there's a Nintendo Direct, or even a Nintendo Indie Direct, I'm just like, oh, here we go. We're getting the announcement for Prime 4. Finally, it's time. But alas, to date, as of mid-November 2022, no Metroid Prime 4 is forthcoming. And I will make a game on that. I will make a video on that when the game comes out. Hopefully there'll be a demo like that. Nintendo should do more of that. That Kirby demo really convinced me to buy that game. Die! Yeah, but yeah. So I have killed that god-awful jerk. Oh shit, have I? Yeah, of course I have. It's going to explode. There we are. What was I saying? Yeah, no, but my love of Metroid is absolutely astounding. I can't believe how good a series I had been missing for as long as I'd been missing it, and I tremendously regret the fact that child me didn't get Super Metroid back when I did. But then on the other hand, adult me wouldn't have had these two to look forward to and be honestly blown away by. Like when I played Metroid Prime, I was absolutely in, because I was playing quite a lot of first-person shooters at the time and stuff. You know, I was absolutely in awe of the lore and the and everything that came along with it. And I didn't realise that eventually, when I played all the 2D ones and stuff like that, they're as good. Like they are in every way as stand-up as these great big go away. They stand up in every way, as well as the 3D ones. And you know, at that stage, I'd moved on from 3D. You know, now all games are 3D shooters and stuff. You know, you don't need to go back to 2D ones. It took me a little while to get back to get back, but when I did, I went back into it big. So yeah, playing all of these for the first time, it's been an absolutely astounding experience. I can't believe it's wonderful that there's such incredible quality out there still to find. And if for some reason you've just jumped in and thought, oh, finale, we'll just see what the end of this is. The end of this is rather like the rest. I've not written a lot down. It's quite rambly. I don't have a story to tell you this time because we've just watched it and I've already recapped in Metroid 1. But yeah, this game is absolutely incredible. This series is absolutely incredible. And I absolutely love Metroid and all things Metroid. Hiding in there, that was cute. But yeah, so Samus blasts off, and so we leave Metroid Zero mission. It's killing one last guy on the way out. Awesome stuff. So while we enjoy the credits, which is the obviously the very, very end of this, do I have any final thoughts about this? Well, this video has largely been final thoughts. All I want to say is go play all the Metroid games. I really, really hope the rumours of a Prime remaster come to fruition, and I really, really hope that Nintendo go back to seeing the value in reissuing older games, even if it's just on like their past, because I'm guessing it's frustrating because for the Wii U they finally did the thing a lot of us have been asking for, and they put the videos, they put the games, sorry, on that service. You could buy them, you could go back and play the old Metroid games. They did it on the 3DS as well, and I'm worried that they have not done it for the Switch in the same way. A lot of these games are available if you pay for the Switch online service, which I'm cool with, but not all of it. Not all of it. And it is a shame that this entire series is just not immediately available to everyone. In the same way, I guess you'd say about the Mario series and the Zelda series. Nintendo can only make money by having these games readily available, and they choose not to. Is such an old-fashioned notion that they kind of could do. Well, one of the most frustrating things about them is the fact that they can't grow with the times and just acknowledge that old business, that they're just leaving money on the table for us that would want to spend, and they're just denying fans the ability to play some of these amazing games, like, because they are amazing and they are absolutely incredible. And yeah, this has gone from a series I never played or rarely played to one of my absolute favourite franchises in all of gaming in a few short years, and that's quite the achievement. And every single one, or almost every single one of these games, is equally a hell of an achievement. I love Samus, I love Metroid, and if you've watched this entire series, I love you. So on this great big loving, we will leave this 74%. That's not bad for a blind first ever playthrough. I'm quite happy with that. But we will leave it with that, and I will say goodbye and thank you, and for the love of all that is holy, retro, Nintendo, give us Metroid Prime 4!